Welcome everybody to Ravine Rundown. This is episode 4 of the Ravine Rundown podcast. Serge, how we feeling? Talk to the people.
Welcome back, guys, to Ravine Rundown. This is episode 4, and we're with my boy Miggy. We got a lot to get into today, so let's get into it.
I'm excited, man. Serge, we pretty much decided today being March 10th, that we're like, let's just do a podcast today. And we kind of were unsure to talk about, we're in the middle of spring training, opening day's a week away. Well, for the Dodgers, it's a week away because we're going to be playing in Japan.
The Tokyo series is a week away. That's going to be fun.
That's going to be a fun experience for all the fans, all the players. But Dave Roberts, he gave us something to talk about. He signs a 4-year, $32.4 million extension on top of the 3 years he already had with the Dodgers under contract. But Serge, the kicker in this, he's going to become the highest paid manager in the history of baseball, AAV wise. Like, it's crazy to put that into perspective. What's your instant reaction to this? Because this just happened, an hour ago? Something like that?
It just happened an hour ago, and again, his contract was due up this season. We all knew he was going to get extended. And Dave Roberts, man, well deserved. After what he did as a manager this 2024 postseason with us, again, he is the best manager in our lifetime. He has the highest winning percentage of any manager in the MLB. Second is Aaron Boone. It's by like 100 points. Dave Roberts, for all of Dave Roberts haters out there and slander, right in your face, he becomes the richest manager in MLB. And again, well deserved. The way that he managed the bullpen in the postseason to get us to that World Series championship. Again, there's no other manager deserving of this contract, beating Craig Counsell of the annual $8 million, getting 8.1. And again, man, as us Dodger fans, I'm happy that he's here at the helm for another 4 years. He is the best Dodger manager since Tommy Lasorda, and that is without any question. I'm happy that he's our guy.
I'm happy he's back too. I'm gonna be honest, Serge. It's crazy how quick baseball can change because that's just a sport that we love to watch.
Yep,
it changes so fast. But I was one of those guys, Serge, going into 24. I'm like, if Dave Roberts doesn't get it done this year, I think it's time to move on.
Oh,
right?
no, most certainly. Like, he was definitely, if we would have got eliminated in the NLDS by the Padres again, on the hot seat. And then you could definitely make the argument, like, you know what, might need a change at the helm. And I definitely agree with you there, but he proved yourself and a lot of people wrong with that World Series run that we went on.
Yeah, he shut the haters up, and when they were down 2-1, everyone's been calling for his job for a while. Obviously, after getting swept by Arizona in 23 and then losing to the Padres in 22. 2020 was his only ring, and at the end of the day, man, I think the ring counts just as much, but it was a shortened season. It was a lot different. We wanted Dave Roberts to get it done in a full 162, and there was a lot of pressure going into this year with the context of how we lost in the previous 2 years. But Dave Roberts, he managed his butt off, bro. He managed his butt off. To put into perspective, the Dodgers were down so many pitchers in 24, man. And it came down, our rotation in the playoffs came down to Yamamoto. And then it was literally Jack Flaherty. So going into the beginning of the year, we didn't think Jack Flaherty would be on the team. Walker Buehler, who had a 5 ERA all year. He was horrible as our number 3. And then it was just bullpen. And the way Dave Roberts handled those bullpen games, keeping our arms fresh, keeping our starters ready in certain situations, using guys out of the bullpen in certain spots, he did exactly what he had to do to win a championship and save his job, and he got rewarded for it. So I'm happy for Dave Roberts. I think, having a manager lock down a position for a long time is almost like a forgotten value in the sport. I feel like a lot of teams are bouncing manager to manager. So Dave Roberts, he's got 7 more years after him now, and he's already been here 8. So he's we're talking about 15 years as manager by the time this contract ends. Crazy.
Yeah, he's gonna be the third longest or second longest tenured Dodger manager in the history of Dodger. And again, he had a masterful class management performance in that postseason run. One of the best that I've ever seen, because going into that game 4, we all knew what was at stake. I think he even knew what was at stake. If we don't get it done today, not only is my legacy tarnished, but the Dodgers, again, it would be 3 years in a row that we go out in the first round. After the pitiful 2023, the 2022 loss to the Padres was heartbreaking. 2021 to the Braves. And again, all throughout those postseason runs, he had a lot of questionable moves that we could have definitely seen right there. And again, after that game 4 against the Padres, he changed the whole script. He flipped it around, and he gets rewarded. And you know what, man? I'm happy for him. Like you said, I've always been a fan of Dave Roberts. I've always liked the way he managed. He's had a lot of questionable decisions, but I mean, it don't matter when you bring in a World Series. Right. And this year, we're the defending World Series champs. So much deserved to Dave Roberts. Happy for him. Yep. Going to see him for another 4 years in Dodger Blue.
Yeah, for sure. And another point I want to bring up about Dave Roberts, I think it's an underrated move that doesn't get talked about. Him pulling Kike off the bench in Game 4, like, these were moves that it changes the vibe of a team. You can put the hot hand. And Dave Roberts, that was something he was getting kind of like pushed down upon, was the fact that he wasn't willing to make adjustments in the middle of a series, wasn't willing to change the lineup up. When we went down 2-1, he made that big adjustment of putting Kike in. It was all for the better. And we won the World Series. Dave Roberts played a big factor in it. I think there's a lot of championships where a lot of the credit goes to the team and the way the players played. I think a lot of the credit's got to go to Dave Roberts. Him putting the guys in the positions. The way he used those bullpen games. Like, his methods were weird because what manager just completely gives up in a playoff game? Right? Like, that was kind of unheard of. The way, I wouldn't say gave up, but he wasn't going full force to win some of these playoff games because he was thinking about the next game. A perfect example, Brett Honeywell, like, literally hadn't pitched more than 2 innings all season, and then they had him pitch 4 innings in a playoff game. Like, just having to do those things to keep the Daniel Hudsons, the Evan Phillips, the Gratterols, Kopechs, these guys fresh in that playoff series, it made all the difference, man. I think those little things don't get talked about enough, and congrats on Dave Roberts. He earned his contract, like Serge said. So I'm excited. I'm excited for what these next 7 years have to, show.
Yeah, and I think another thing about Dave Roberts too is that this guy has experience. He is the most experienced manager in the game right now. He's been in the playoffs every year since he became a manager of the Dodgers in 2016. And again, I think a big thing about Dave Roberts, and a lot of players have vouched for him and talked about it, is that he believes in his players. He likes to have those one-on-one talks with his players, going in and having belief in the guys. Even though when they are struggling, and we think sometimes, like, bro, you like pull them out, bro, don't start them. He believes in the players. He gives them that chance. And like a perfect example, like you said, like Kike, that's an experience move. He understands that Kike is great in the playoffs. And when we needed Kike, he noticed that that's the point that we need him. You put him in. And again, those are the decisions that an experienced manager that's been in the playoffs, that's been there, that's done it, makes. And again, he gets rewarded for it.
Yeah, good on Dave Roberts, man. We're happy for him. And, Serge, let's shift gears a little bit. Congrats once again to Dave Roberts on the big extension. Roberts, please bring more championships, damn it. And also,
back to back, baby.
Real quick, can we let, now that you're under contract for a long time, can you just let pitchers finish their perfect games? I still don't forgive you for what you did to Clayton Kershaw. He had that perfect game against Minnesota, man.
Dude, that
one
crazy,
made me mad. That
was crazy. Honestly, man, I get he was coming off the injury, but if we would have saw Kershaw a perfect game, bro, that would have been crazy. That would have been something.
Career.
That would have been something.
It would have been insane, man. But now, Serge, seasons, what? Well, Japan series 1 week away, and then Rio season's like what, 2.5 weeks, something like that. Weeks. Yeah. So what we got to talk about now is the Dodgers and their season preview. We already broke down the roster, and now I kind of want to talk about, how are they going to look throughout the season? How many wins are we going to have? What's our biggest competition looking like? So I want to start off with wins right now, Serge. Right now, pretty much the odds on the Dodgers win total is 104.5. Simple question for you, Serge. Over under. Over under that.
Damn. 104.5. See, me and you have different views on this. You always think that it's about under, and I'm going the high route. Man, it really depends on how. But you know what? I'm going to stick to my gut. I'm going to go over. I think they're like 105 to 108.
Ooh, okay. I like that a lot. The Dodgers, they won 98 last year, but we also dealt with a lot of injuries. And Serge, I think you underestimated me today. I'm leaning over.
You're going to go over? Hey, that's what we like to see.
Because if they won 98 with all the injuries they had, all the Dodgers got to do is stay somewhat healthy this year, and they'll probably be 100 wins for sure.
Yeah.
And I think they'll get the over. I'm more on under. We've talked about it. This is an argument we've had, Serge, is will they break the win record? I don't see it, but I think we'll get 105 wins. I think that's very doable.
Wins. And we can't forget with the injuries, but the additions that we made. Yeah. I mean, again.
And then having so much depth that we have, like the depth that we have is like, if there are injuries, we're still going to be a competitive team. So those games in the middle of August where we're playing like the Rockies, like we're not going to just, throw bums out there when depleted.
No, a good point I want to bring up just real quick again because it's a little bit off topic, but like, I don't know if anybody have seen like the Yankees right now are in deep waters with injuries. Garrett Cole's out, Luis Hill's out, Giancarlo Stanton's out, and this is where the Dodgers come in and didn't want to have that problem. When people are like, "Oh, you have 8, 10 starters," well, dude, look at the Yankees. Garrett Cole's out, they're number 1 now. They have Max Fried and Rodon, but again, they're not as depth-wise as the Dodgers. Now, if we go down Tyler Glasnow or Yamamoto, we're completely fine. Same thing on the position side. So that's another thing I want to bring up. The Dodgers, again, have so much depth for that same reason. Because we're already seeing it. Injuries. And I hope that the Dodgers don't have any big injuries. Again, but that's the game of baseball nowadays. But I think that's a really good point. That's why the Dodgers have so much depth.
Yeah, I think they'll get the 104.5.
Yeah, obviously, I think so too.
I want to kind of break down our competition, focusing more on the National League because, like,
National League's fun.
At the end of the day, there's one American League team that we're gonna have to beat and gonna be in the World Series. So I want to focus on the National League. Starting off quickly with our division search, what are we looking at right now? So we obviously got the Padres, we got the Giants, we got the Diamondbacks, Rockies. Do you see any sort of competition in the NL West this year, or do you think the Dodgers run away with it?
No, the NL West is really competitive. Again, the Rockies, I'm not going to give any idea to them. The Giants are up and coming. They got Willie Adames, but I don't think that they're yet going to be there. We know the Padres. The Padres have some players, but the chemistry has never worked. We saw it last year in 2024. I think our biggest competition, and they had a great offseason, the Arizona Diamondbacks, man. That's a sneaky good team. They added Corbin Burns. That rotation is nasty. If those guys stay healthy, that 1 through 4 is pretty good. And then you have Corbin Burns. You have Ketel Marte. You have Pavin Smith in there. You lost Christian Walker, but you brought in Josh Taylor. That's a great lefty back that I think that's going to go off in the desert. So in National League West, I do think that we're going to win the division. Again, because I think we're the best team in baseball in the National League as well. But I think the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to give us our run in the winning division. It's not going to, that team no more isn't where we see on the schedule and be like, sweep, series win. No.
It was like that for a while.
Yeah, it was like that for a while. Those are going to be fun series to watch. So in our division, got to look out for the Diamondbacks, man.
Yeah, I agree on the Diamondbacks take, and the Giants, I am actually pretty high on. I like the moves they made.
Yeah,
they brought in Adames. I know Verlander's up there in age. He's coming off some bad years, but I don't think Verlander's going to go out on a bad note. I think he's one of the greatest pitchers of our generation for a reason. So he will go. I think he'll bounce back at some point. I like the moves they made. I like their offense. Matt Chapman, one of my favorite players to watch play baseball.
Yeah, that left side of the infield is deadly.
It's defensively disgusting. Yeah. But something, obviously I'm not going to give any credit to the Rockies. I won't even talk about them like Serge said. The Padres, though, are another team that I thought the way the Padres built their roster last year, I'm like, yeah, this team might be a team to worry about for years to come. Not even just for the year. Sadly, they dealt with a lot of ownership troubles, right? Their owner died, and there was some clash between the brothers and the wife over the team, and it's just a lot of drama going on. And because of that,
money issues.
Money issues. They didn't spend any money. They didn't bring anyone in. Their biggest moves were Jason Hayward and
old friend.
Yeah, old friend Jason Hayward. And the big signing for them was Nick Pivetta, but they gave Nick Pivetta a big old contract, and Nick Pavetta's not even really proven. So. And obviously now there's talks about trading Dylan Cease and Michael King at some point, which is absurd to me. Like, those guys are such key factors to your team.
Can't do that. Again, the only way that you do that is if you start the season off terribly and the wheels fall off. But if you're the Padres, bro, you don't have much to lean on. Like, you got to keep that together. At least just for the 1 year that they're under contract.
I agree with that. But honestly, it looks like they're kind of just looking for a retool, not a rebuild, but a retool. And because of that, I don't see them being that competitive this year. I don't like the moves they made. Their team doesn't look as good as last year. They lost a lot of guys. Our boy Tyner Scott came over. Thank you, Padres, for that.
Thank you.
I feel like, am I missing a name? They lost Profar. That was the name I was thinking of. That was a
Profar
big
used to be a thorn in our nail, but obviously he's with the Braves now, so that's great.
Hey, I wish he stayed though. I cannot stand that guy.
Yeah, that would no. I
wish
can't
it would have been.
And he has a deep hate for the Dodgers, and we would have gave him a run this year, man.
It would have been fun. But he's gone. The Padres, I'm not high on it. Honestly, Serge, I picked the Giants over the Padres for this year
I do too. I have the Giants.
You do? Okay, so you're with me. I was actually gonna lead that into a question to ask you. I was gonna ask you.
Yeah.
So on the Hanger podcast, I was like, I think I like the Giants more. I'm gonna pick them over the Padres this year. I was gonna ask you that. You're in the same boat as me. With that being said, I think it's consensus that the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to be number 2 right now. And they were the number 1 offense in baseball. Yeah, they lost Shock Peterson. Yeah, they lost Christian Walker. But they brought in Naylor. They're getting healthier. You know, Corbin Carroll wasn't himself until like the second half of the year last year. We're going to get a full year of him getting going.
Oh, yeah.
Ketel Marte was an MVP candidate. Like,
Marte is
I love
great.
I love what they did. Right. And their rotation.
Nasty.
That's up there, man, with the best 1, 2, 3 you can have.
Yeah, it's really good. Adding Corbin, bro, when I saw that move, I was like, oh my God. What a
Came out of nowhere.
What?
Came out of nowhere.
Complete left field. What a move by the D-backs. And what a way to make a stamp. You know that you got to compete against the Dodgers, and that's what you go out and do. Great move by that D-backs organization.
Yeah, I agree. And I kind of, I like that we have competition, Serge. Listen.
Of course.
That was kind of something that was talked about for a while. Maybe the Dodgers, you know, they were running away with the division every year. Maybe it's not for the best, right? Because in 22 and 23, we won those divisions early. And it kind of just felt like we're not getting pushed. We're not trying in September. So it felt like in those middle of those seasons, Serge, that we were running away with the division. There wasn't much competition. The Dodgers were honestly not even really playing competitive baseball come September. Last year, obviously, the Padres and us were down to the wire, like, for that division. And it came down to that last series where we played them, where if we didn't win those games, we could have been looking at a wild card appearance. And I think it helped us. It helped us play those competitive games in the regular season to prepare us for what the postseason is going to feel like. And
of course.
I'm really hoping, I'm almost hoping the Diamondbacks, hell, even the Giants, hell, even the Padres could be fighting for this division at some point in the year, and it keeps us ready for the season.
No, yeah, it's definitely not a runaway division. Again, you're like we're down the Padres, but they have some players in there that, again, they're gonna have a couple games in there where our pitching's not gonna be on, and they're gonna give us a run for our money. And again, like you said, I think it's good to play competitive games, especially within your division, because it helps you for the postseason. Where if you're in a division where you just like the NL Central or the AL Central, where it's the Guardians, right? And then they're just beating every single team, then you don't really get that competitive factor unless you're playing like an interleague game between like the Yankees or the Red Sox or whatever. But this division is competitive. It's not a runaway where like, oh yeah, every team's bad, we're going to run away with it. The only team is the Rockies. That should be an easy sweep of a series. But besides that, there's 4 teams in this division that are going to be going back and forth.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. The NL West is fun. I think that there's a lot of wild card teams. And the Dodgers and Diamondbacks are the set in stone contenders, and it really a lot can change. A lot can change. So I'm hoping
game of baseball
that I hope there's a lot of competition. I hope it's fun. I hope there's rivalry. I really like that the Dodgers and Padres had those scuffles throughout the year. I hope the Giants, maybe we rekindle something there. Like
that would be fun.
I'm excited.
That would be fun.
I want something like, I feel like with the Dodgers being the top dogs right now, Serge, we're gonna get a lot of that from teams this year.
Oh yeah.
I think I expect that. So I'm excited for that. I think we've already kind of established, so we know who's winning this division. It's the Dodgers, baby. We're winning
all day. We're gonna win our 13th straight. That's absolutely crazy to say.
No, but remember we lost in 2021.
Oh, no. Yeah, my bad, guys. Yeah. No, yes. We lost to the 2021 Giants. That was absolutely insane. But it's crazy.
If Cody Bellinger didn't throw that ball 500 feet into the stands that one game, bro, we would have won the division. It's
kind of just crazy. Like, my whole life, like, basically my whole childhood, I've seen the Dodgers win the division, like, almost every year.
Literally.
And that's one of that's so like insane being a Dodgers fan. Like I at least in my time, like I haven't seen like the struggle years of being a fan and like the rebuild years. I've always seen us on top, and it's gonna continue like that for a long time.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what's crazy, Serge? The 1 year we didn't win the division, we ended up beating the team in the playoffs that beat us for the division. So like it didn't even matter. Like we ended up, and we got a great moment out of it because Chris Taylor hit that walk off in the wild card. Like. Those are awesome, man. Yeah, so I kind of want to shift gears now, Serge. We talked about the NL West, but now I want to talk about the entire National League. And I'm just going to throw the question at you off the top of your head. What are the 3 teams that you're most worried about if the Dodgers run into in the playoffs?
In the playoffs, the 3 teams I'm most worried about, Mets, Phillies, Braves.
Ooh. So pretty much the NL East.
the NL East. They're one of the best divisions in baseball, and those three, that's gonna be a dogfight in that division. And those are the three that I'm like, okay, that's gonna be a good challenge for us.
I'm a little surprised you said the Mets first. Was it in order like?
No. Those are just like the three teams that came to mind.
Okay. I was more wondering about that. So out of those three teams, though, who would you say you're most worried about? Like, I don't want to play them.
I don't want to play them, but like probably the Braves, because we've had a history with the Braves in the postseason, and they've always had our number. And they're coming back healthy this year. You're bringing back a Spencer Strider. You're bringing back an Austin Riley. Matt Olson's most likely going to bounce back. You have Profar there, who's been always a thorn in our thing. So I think the Braves, I would probably, if I had to go in order, it'd be Braves, Phillies, Mets.
Braves, Phillies, Mets. Okay. I like that. I kind of have a follow-up question for that. Then Braves, Phillies, Mets. For the Mets, you're more worried about them than the Diamondbacks.
Well, the Diamondbacks, we're going to win our division, and I think if like we play them like in like the first round, I think our offense is going to carry over against the Diamondbacks. The pitching is going to be a dogfight, but I think offensively, I think we have the number over the Diamondbacks. Now, if we look at the Mets, now you got Juan Soto now in there, who generational talent in hitting, and then you have, Francisco Lindor, who had an amazing postseason last year. So I just think offensively wise, I think that I would more rather take the Diamondbacks than the Mets.
Okay, I like that. I'm gonna give you the reason I ask is because my list is pretty similar, but I just have that one switch up. So number one, I'm gonna go from I'm most worried to least worried.
Okay.
Phillies number one, and the reason I say the Phillies, Serge, is because they're hungry, man. Their last three playoff losses have been freaking heartbreakers. They lost in the World Series when they weren't expected to do it, right? But then in the second round, in the year after, they lose in the CS when they were expected to do it. They lost in Game 7 after having a 3-2 lead, sending it back home.
6-7 against the D-backs. That was bad. That was heartbreaking.
Right. That was heartbreaking for them. And then they lose to their division rival this past year against the Mets. And the year prior, they lost in the division to the I'm sorry. I said it with the wrong thing. But yeah, they lost to the Mets this year. So it just feels like they've been in the moment. They got Harper, they got Castellanos, they got Schwarber, and those guys just freaking turn a switch on in the damn playoffs. They're scary when it comes playoff time.
They are scary, and I think like their window's closing. Like we gotta understand that like Schwarber's contract's coming up. Castellanos, Harper's getting older, Wheeler's getting older, Nola's getting older. So their window is closing. So I definitely agree with you there that the Phillies, they're hungry, and man, Philly in the playoffs, Philly in October is an atmosphere. Those fans don't mess around. So going into like an NLCS matchup against them in Philly at the Citizens Bank, it's an experience, man. It's something.
That would be fun. And the reason I also put them number one, we've never faced them in the playoffs. We don't know what it's going to be like. For the teams that I'm going to list next
was 09, but that's 09. That was completely different rosters back then.
I shouldn't say like we've never faced them ever. I meant more kind of like this core of Dodgers and this run that we're on. We haven't ran into them yet. So
no.
I also, for number two, this is where I'm going to put the Atlanta Braves. Serge took the words out of my mouth. They got their lineup when healthy, one of the scariest, and they go out and they've been there. They've had our number from 21. We remember that. And my third team, this is where we're different on our list. I have the Arizona Diamondbacks over the New York Mets because I'm just not high on the Mets pitching this year, Serge. Like if I'm being honest,
you're definitely right. I definitely could agree with you there.
And they're dealing with injuries right now already. Like, yeah, they brought in Soto, but I think the Dodgers kind of proved they could beat a team surrounded by Soto because the Mets lineup compared to the Yankees lineup from last year with Soto, like it's kind of a similar idea. If you get through the big guys like Lindor, which is same as Aaron Judge, and then obviously Soto, if you work around those guys, it feels like that 6 through 9 in the lineup, like we can handle. That's kind of the way I would navigate the Mets lineup, and I'm not a big fan of their rotation at all. Like there's just nothing that jumps off the page for the Mets besides having Lindor and Soto and Alonso. Like that big three is obviously amazing, but besides that, I'm okay with the Mets. And the Diamondbacks having the number one offense in baseball. Yeah, and then bringing in an ace in Corbin Burns, they scare me. But that being said, this last postseason surge proved to me the Dodgers could beat anyone, bro. I don't think we're scared anymore. We're not scared anymore, man.
We're not scared anymore. We have that dog in us. I think us, like players said, us beating the Padres was our World Series. Even Dodger players said themselves, the Padres were the best team to beat in that whole postseason run. They were better than the Yankees. And that win, I think, gave us confidence for years. Years because of that rivalry. We beat them. They beat us in 22. It was so heartbreaking. It was so just, especially with that team, but we won 111 games with that team and we lost. And for us to come back and beat the Padres in that fashion, going to a game 5, beating them in game 4 at home with the bullpen, it just gave us that confidence. It gave us that dog mentality. And all the fear went out the window. Like, it's gone. We don't have any fear in us no more.
Yeah, sir. It's crazy. I remember going into some of these playoff series in the years prior, I would literally be thinking about the game, and I'm like, bro, I'm nervous. I don't want to watch the game because I don't.
2023,
really,
perfect example.
Yeah, 23, 22 even. Like it just felt nerve wracking. I felt that same feeling of nerve when we played the Padres last year,
dude.
But then I lost that feeling. Right. I lost that feeling though against the Mets and Yankees. Like it's almost like, bro, we got this, bro. We got this. Like
It's just great, but just imagine, and this is for all Dodgers fans out there, whoever's watching the pod, Game 4 is gonna go down in 2024 NLDS as one of the most crucial games in Dodger history because if we would have lost that game, a lot of things would be different right now.
Roberts wouldn't be the highest paid manager ever.
Nope, and us losing 3 years in a row, we would have been more of a laughing stock than we were already. We were starting to become that, losing year after year in the playoffs, not being able to get over the hump, having the Mickey Mouse ring title over our head, and can't do it in a full season. So that game 4, man, I've never been more nervous for a game. I remember waking up that morning, I'm like, dude, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear all the backlash of we can't do it, and losing to the Padres again, bro. I couldn't fathom that. It was almost like when Kobe talked about in 2010 finals with the Lakers against the Celtics, where he couldn't lose to the Celtics again. That's exactly how I was like, bro, we can't lose to the Padres again.
It would have sucked so bad.
It would have sucked, especially at their house. No. But again, winning that game, I think definitely just took the fear out. And like you said, now I think this postseason we're gonna go in with so much confidence and hey, let's go.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think they've got the monkey off their back, and now they're ready to take over, man. And I like the Kobe. That was perfect. Honestly, bro, when I was at Game 2 of the NLDS last year against the Padres, when the freaking fans wanted to fight Profar and Flaherty and Machado and Tatis, when I saw Tatis, I was in the stands. And it was in between innings, and I'm like, I went on my phone because I was just pissed. I was already in a bad mood. And I saw Tatis shaking his freaking tongue at the fans and doing his antics. Bro, in that moment, I'm like, we cannot fucking lose to these guys.
We can't, bro.
We cannot go out sad, bro.
It set the fire. Bro, you're not going to come in here, disrespect us in our field in LA. You're not going to do that, bro.
I completely agree. I'm glad the Dodgers had our back this year.
Thank God.
So, Serge, I want to end on this. For this video, for this podcast, I want to end with kind of our predictions for these questions. So I'm gonna say this, and you just kind of tell me what player you think matches it best for this upcoming year. I want to start off. We'll start from the bottom up. So we'll go team most improved player. What Dodger do you think will have the most improved season for 2025?
Most improved season for 2025. Man, that's a good one. I think Edman. Coming off the injury-riddled season, I think he's gonna pop off this year.
So what do you think his numbers are gonna look like? Obviously, he came off the injury. He wasn't too great in the regular season when he did play, but he turned it up in the playoffs, and we saw what he could do.
I think he's gonna build off that. I think he's gonna be like a 40 double, 20-25 homer type of guy, 30 stolen bases.
That's a big year.
I think Tommy Edman could have that type of year. And I think that's why we signed him to the 5-year extension. I think he's gonna build off that post. I think he's comfortable in LA. He has that contract, so I think he's gonna pop off.
Yeah, and he's gonna have that whole off season to work off that injury. I think to come off an injury and then get thrown into important baseball games, that's tough, man. Like, you're not feeling yourself. It might still be lingering a little bit. Like, we see it all the time. Like, when Ronald Acuna tore his ACL the first time, his first year back, he struggled. He kind of didn't really find himself, and then he won the MVP the next year. I think something similar I wouldn't say MVP for Tommy Edman, but I do think he'll have a way better year.
I already know the answer to your question. Chris Taylor. I'm going to say right out of your mouth, most improved player.
Serge! You're wrong, bro. But listen.
Okay. Let me hear it.
I'm going to say, I'll let you figure it out. My guy's Andy Pages, bro. I love everything about Andy Pages, bro.
He struggled this spring. He has struggled this spring.
Yeah, he did struggle this spring. But I think the guy's just got too much talent. And
he has a lot of talent.
13 home runs last year. He played in like 100-something games. He kind of had that stretch of time where he wasn't hitting home runs. I remember there was like a 2-month period or something like that where he didn't even hit a home run. Guy's got so much power. He's got so much talent. If he just works on discipline and plate discipline, seeing pitches and working counts, he's going to be a great player. He's got a crazy arm. He plays great center field. Like, I think that if he gets a lot of playing time against lefties, yeah, exactly. If he gets a lot of playing time against lefties this year, I think he's going to have a 25 homer year. He hit 13 last year, and like I said, he had that stretch where he wasn't hitting homers. If he gets enough playing time, he'll hit 25 homers. He'll bat like 260, 270, and he's going to start cementing himself into the lineup. I think he's so talented. Like, he has to figure it out.
No, and again, he's young. Yeah, great pick. Honestly, don't disagree with you there. Great pick. Yeah, he just has to really cut down the strikeouts. That was his biggest problem. He has to really get disciplined. He needs to really
work counts. He doesn't do that at all.
Work the counts. And and you have him in a platoon. Play him against lefties. He crushes lefties.
I agree. That's gonna be. We'll see what happens, but I kind of like that. I like your pick a lot, Tommy Edman. I kind of didn't even consider him because I like in my head I'm like, this guy's already good. But then you look at his numbers from 24 in that short amount of time. It wasn't crazy. It wasn't jumping off the page. So that'll be interesting. So now that kind of moves on to my next question. Who do you think the biggest X factor is going to be for the Dodgers this year? Someone that, you know, you're not really expecting big things for, but down the stretch when we need him most, he'll come through. Who's your guy for this year?
I'm between two. I think either Sha-Sung Kim or Michael Conforto.
That's a good one.
Sha-Sung Kim or Michael Conforto. I think one of these two guys really has to step up. And I'm kind of going to lean more towards Sha-Sung Kim because he is going to be playing second base. He's going to be that middle infield guy. We got him. He was like one of the most surprising offseason pickups for us. No one knew who he was, why we got him. But I think we got him for one sole reason, to be that scrappy player, to be that guy that could get on base and score runs. So he has to do that. I think he's going to be a huge part of the lineup, being that guy. And if he doesn't do that, then it's going to be like, so I think he's the biggest X factor, Sha-Sung Kim.
That's a really good pick. I really like that a lot because I kind of didn't even consider him for my X factor at all. And you're right, man. Like I said, down the stretch, who are you expecting? He's such a scrappy player. He's going to get on base. He's going to work counts. He's going to play great defense. He does all the little things right. So I love that pick from Serge. My X factor, though, Serge, I think now you can try to take the words out of my mouth, bro. You can take. This is it. This is Chris Taylor revenge year. I'm putting all my
horrible spring.
Eggs.
Horrible spring.
Dude. I don't know. I've seen a
horrible spring.
Listen. I've seen a lot of balls put in a play that were ripped, and they were just outs. Like, it happens. It's spring.
Things are going to come around. All I got to say, James, I'm going to hit a 3-1 homer yesterday. Put him in the roster. That's all I got to say.
Put him in single A. That's where we need to put him.
You know what, though, Miggy? I got to give you, man, you really believe in Chris Taylor. And look, man, he's on the last year of his contract. I hope for the Chris Taylor stan that he could produce something in his last year, because this is it. He's never going to be a Dodger again after this year. This is the last year that he is a Dodger. So, he's got to do something, man. I hope he does something.
It's contract year. He's coming off a couple years of mediocrity. But, Serge, this is our guy, bro. This is something I encourage a lot of Dodger fans to do. I'm going to shout him out. I'm going to give them the promo. There's a page on YouTube called EXE Edits. EXE Edits. Okay. And he posts all the series. He posts all the series of like the playoff series, and he puts all the games in one long video. So it's the highlights of every game in a video. So it shows the whole series. Watch any Dodgers series from 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21. Look who's scoring in like
CT3,
90%.
baby.
Like, bro, he's scoring all the time. He's getting the hits all the time. He's in all the defensive highlights. He was our X factor for all those years, and now with it being his contract year, he hasn't been himself. Yeah, he had a bad spring, but I honestly saw him barreling up a lot of balls that were outs. I think he's getting to the high fastball a little better. I wouldn't say a lot better. He's starting to foul them off now. Like, he's not just swinging and missing, because I know that he loves to do that. But I think we owe it to Chris Taylor to give him one more chance. And I think with it being his last year being a Dodger, because Serge is completely right. This is probably it for Chris Taylor and Dodger Blue.
Yeah, this is it.
If this is it, we owe it to him to give him one more chance to prove himself, and I don't think he's going to miss out on this opportunity. So shout out Chris Taylor. Shout out EXE Edits. I encourage you Dodger fans to check that out.
I hope, for your sake, Miggy, just for your soul, that Chris Taylor has one more clutch moment for the Dodgers in the playoffs.
I need that.
If he hits a walk-off home run in the playoffs, bro, you're going to go insane. You'll remember that forever.
Dude, I'm telling you. And then, bro, people forget, though. Game 6 NLCS last year, Chris Taylor started that game and had 2 hits and made the final out of the game. He made the final put out of the game.
All right.
Like, he was in there, bro. He was still on the team, bro.
Anyway to get Chris Taylor his props. This guy loves Chris Taylor,
bro.
On the
team, bro.
I don't know if you got to get a Taylor jersey this year, bro. You're going to have to.
I should, honestly. I might have to.
Chris Taylor's stand right here.
I might just wait till he leaves and I'll get him for like $15 at a freaking swap meet. They'll probably find him there.
100%.
But yeah. I'm all for a Chris Taylor. I'm all excited for him.
Most improved, honestly, Mickey has Chris Taylor, guys.
I have him for my X Factor, actually.
Oh, X Factor, okay.
Yeah. But honestly, looking at your pick, I kind of like your pick more. So we'll see if I eat my own words. But now, Serge, we've made it to the 2 biggest awards that you can give. Honestly, one for a pitcher, one for a position player. Who's your team Cy Young this year, Serge? Who do you think is going to be the best starting pitcher out of the team?
Blake Snell. I've said it since the beginning, since we got him. He's going to be the workhorse guy. He's going to give us the most innings. He's excited to be in Dodger Blue. And when Blake Snell is healthy, when he pitches more than 180 innings, the 2 years he did it, Cy Young.
Right. But will he? That's the question, Serge. Will he? Like, he never does it. He's done it, what, a couple times? Handful?
2
like,
times.
Not even a handful. Like, come on, man.
2 times, 2 Cy Youngs.
We need him to prove it. Like, that's where I'm at with Blake Snell. Because we gave him a lot of money.
Yeah, we did. I just think that out of our rotation, again, when it comes to health, I just think that he's the most durable guy, to be honest with you. Like, Glass now is scary. Roki don't know what he's going to give us. Yamamoto has been injured. Shohei, now, they're not even saying May. It could be later. You know, Bobby Miller got hit in the head this spring training. Time. Right. Like, you know, I just think Blake Snell is going to be the durable guy for us. I think he's going to be the guy that Dave Roberts is going to count on to go out there every 5th day, give us 5 to 6 innings, and just be the workhorse. So, Cy Young for the Dodgers, this year rotation, Blake Snell.
Blake Snell. I like your pick. I just needed to prove it, man. I'm kind of not liking the uncertainty in our rotation the more I talk about the Dodgers.
Yeah,
like,
man, it's scary.
Snell, like, it's scary. But just please stay healthy. I'm hoping the 6-man rotation helps. I do think that'll help eventually when that comes into play later in the year. But my guy, Serge, it's going to shock a lot of people. Clayton. No, I'm just kidding. Man, I'm just kidding.
That's your goal right there.
I'm going Yamamoto, bro. That guy.
No, that's a good pick. That's a good pick.
I'm picking him because I feel like he's our best pitcher. Out of all the guys in our rotation, who do I trust with the ball with their season on the line? Yamamoto. Like, we brought this guy over to be a big game pitcher. He's always been a big game pitcher in Japan. His last start in Japan, I think he threw a complete game in an elimination World Series game, their version of the World Series. So, like, guys,
and he proved it. He proved it in the postseason. Yeah. He was the big guy for us against the Yankees.
Game start against the Yankees was awesome.
Beautiful.
That was awesome.
Magnificent one.
That was an amazing game, and I think that honestly, his injury, he never really dealt with a lot of injuries in Japan. He dealt with a big injury last year. Like I said, 6-man rotation is going to help. I think he'll stay healthy all year. Out of all the guys in our rotation, I expect to stay healthy. I think I trust Yamamoto the most out of everyone.
No, no argument there. I think that's a great pick. He just has to stay healthy.
I'm going with Yama. He's our big game guy.
Big game guy.
I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited for it. So, Serge.
Here we go.
We made it to the last category. before I ask this question, because I think everyone knows what we're gonna ask, can we just agree it's gonna be Shohei and then we pick someone else?
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
Okay.
come on, guys.
All right, so team MVP.
Shohei's MVP of the league. It's not even just the Dodgers. Like, let's be real.
Like, Shohei, no matter what
besides
he does,
Shohei,
the team.
Yeah.
Besides Shohei, who do we have as the MVP, Serge?
And I honestly was going to pick this over Shohei, even though, again, Shohei is him. But our shortstop is proven at the position. He's going to have a huge year. It's Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts, since got there early in spring training, has played the most reps in spring training. Most starters don't play past the 4th inning. He's been there since till the 6th, 7th, getting the reps in, getting the at-bats. Mookie Betts this year looks locked in. Chip on his shoulder from last year. People saying that he can't play shortstop. He worked hard this offseason for it. He looks, there you go. He looks locked in this year. He has like that just determination where like, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to prove everybody wrong. I'm going to be a high caliber MLB shortstop in the MLB. So Mookie Betts going to pop off this year.
Good on Mookie. See, I want to say Mookie too, but I just like his defense is gonna suck this year, man. Like I'm already watching. Listen,
we gotta
he's putting in the work, like Serge said. He's in there in the 6th, 7th inning. But man, Serge, the games that I have been throwing on for spring, man, like I've seen him bounce routine throws to Freddie having to save his butt over there. I've seen a couple throws that made the first baseman jump a little bit. Like his throws,
he still has to dial it in. But it's a Mookie Betts.
Come on, man. Like, how about you just dial it in right field? You're the best right fielder in the sport.
But he ain't going to play right field. We got our boy Teo out there.
No, put him back in left, play Mookie in right, and we'll figure it out in center. Like, that's my mindset.
Honestly, I what I like with you, I completely agree. Like, Mookie Betts should stay in right field. 100%. But obviously, that's not going to happen. And I just think that he can have a better... Even Dave Roberts said it. He looks like a completely different shortstop. So... Yeah. Again, let's be patient with him. Let's see how he starts the season there. Now, if we're a month or two in and he's like at 10 errors, then hey, completely agree. But let's give him some time. Let's see what happens. And again, it's Mookie Betts, man. He's a great player.
I agree. So that's gonna be my pick as well because his bat is in a full year of Mookie. Like he's also like a notoriously good start to the season guy. Like I feel like he always has a good first couple months. So I think that's going to get him going early. And last year he was off to a great start. Got injured.
Great, yeah.
He got hit by the pitch. So I'm picking Mookie. Am I high on his defense? No.
I just want to also give a shout out, bro, because this guy's been balling in spring. Freddie Freeman, man. Frederick. 3 homers, has been our best hitter in spring. The ankle doesn't look like he's bothering him. And after coming off the 2024 World Series MVP, hey, man, the age is getting up there, but Freddie's aging like fine wine. It's only getting better with age. So
I agree.
Watch out with Freddie Freeman. He might have an insane year.
I completely agree. And that's going to be fun, something to look out for. Obviously, Teo's going to put together good years. Like, shout out all those guys that aren't really talked about for some of these categories, but are still going to have great years for the Dodgers. Serge, that's all I got. But is there anything else you kind of want to talk about before we wrap up here?
No, I just want to talk about, like, the Tokyo series is gonna be insane. It's gonna be a movie. It's gonna be cinema. Fun. We have the top 3 Japanese phenoms on the Dodgers against the Cubs, who have Seiya and Shota Imanaga, who are great Japanese players. And then we have a couple of fun exhibition games against the Yomiuri Giants and then the Tigers. I can't pronounce the first. Those are always fun to watch. So again, guys, go check out the Japanese. You don't want to miss this series. It's going to be full of action, action-packed. All media is going to be on it. It's going to be fun to watch. So, again, I think that's a great way coming off a World Series championship to start the year. Go play in Japan at the Tokyo Dome. Again, Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, Roki Sasaki against Shota Imanaga and Seiya Suzuki. Cinema. Straight movie. Great way to start the year. MLB, such smart marketing, such smart advertisement. Couldn't start a season in a better way.
Call me crazy, Serge. Call me crazy. Listen, I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be different. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of these series that start. Really?
That's insane.
Like, because I'm not a fan of freaking, like, the us watching games, and then the Dodgers got to go back home and play, like, 3 more spring training games against the Angels. And then,
but the Angels is always the thing. That we've always done that.
Yeah, right. But, like, why are we gonna do the freeway series against the Angels right after we just played real games? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I think that I don't know. Maybe
okay.
I might hate it.
I do agree with you that I don't think the Tokyo game should be part of the season. I completely agree with you on that. I think that should be.
Oh, you don't think this should be part of the season? Really?
No. Like, I'm saying, like, count as real season games. Like, they should be like exhibition games. Like, you know?
I don't know. Actually, I think I like that they're part of the season just because I don't feel like the players would want to go to Japan to just play.
Yeah, no. Well, that's why they do it. Like, that's obviously why. But, dude, like, you gotta understand, like, dude, Roki, Yamamoto, and Shohei, who is basically,
that
is
like, gonna be insane.
The man there. Like, how can you not like it? Like, come on. Like, let's be real here. Like, that's
maybe I'm
cinema.
I'm just a grumpy old man that don't want to wake up at 3 a.m. to watch
you're a baseball purist. You want it to be regular. Start the season on a regular.
Yeah, and, I think I am. Like, I didn't like it last year in Korea.
No, Korea, like, I wasn't too fan of the Korea one, but this one I'm excited for. Just because of, like, the atmosphere and the players.
See, that's a good point, though. Like, I can get behind that. Like, obviously, all these great Japanese stars are going over and playing in their own
last
country.
year was a little... Starting in Korea against the Padres, honestly, was really, like... For what? Like, to be honest, like...
And the stadium was kind of weird. I didn't like the...
It was weird. Like, the lighting was weird. Like, I don't know. Watching the games on TV was weird.
Yeah, I agree. But, you know what? Are you going to wake up, Serge? Are you going to be up at 3 in the morning or what?
Yeah, I'll be there. 3 a.m.
Dude, we might have to go live or something, bro.
Bro, like, we might have to go live. That'll be dope.
That might be fire, but the only thing is, bro, I might be behind. I'm always behind on my TV.
Guys, if we do go live, you gotta go check it out at HangerPod at TikTok. That's the boy Miggy's pod and account. So, hey, in a couple weeks...
And that's where we post all our clips.
All of our clips are there at HangerPod on TikTok. It's the boy Miggy. Go give him a follow. Shout out. But yeah, if any guys are up during that time, we'll most likely be up. We might go live. And you gotta come.
That might be cool.
Live Japanese series. That would be dope.
That would be fun. That would be fun. I'm excited. Season what? What, bro? Week from today, there's a real baseball game that matters.
Guys,
we gotta be.
Dodger season is back, and it feels so good. It's back,
guys. Excited. It's gonna be fun, man. I'm excited, Serge. This was a great talk.
Season. Oh no,
we've officially done it. We've talked about pretty much all the off-season stuff, all the spring training stuff, all the moves. So now we just gotta let the season start, and then Serge and I are gonna start talking about what's going on in the season, what move, like, you know, just adjustments for the season. It'll be fun,
guys. It's gonna be fun. Definitely, you guys gotta stick around for the journey. It's gonna be a hell of a season. Again, Dodgers this year are all the eyes are on us. We're almost like the villains of this season. So we're gonna be here. Game recaps, game reviews, everything Dodgers at Ravine Rundown right here with me and the boy Miggy. So don't go anywhere, guys.
All right, man. Appreciate you guys for hopping on and listening, and catch us in the next episode.
Catch you guys in the next